Hey everybody, this is Carissa from Inky Fairy Designs, and I'm back with another Brutus Monroe video. We're going to be creating this beautiful rainbow sky card. I want to show you the supplies I'm using today. Of course, I'm going to be stamping in the Detail ink and Raven. We're going to be doing some watercoloring, so that's perfect ink. I'm going to be using this Spiral Cloud Clear stamp. I'm also going to be using this Kind Floral stamp set. It's one of my faves. I've used it often, but I'm going to be using that Choose Kindness sentiment. And then, like I said, I'm going to be doing watercoloring. So I picked out some aqua pigments in magenta, yellow orange, yellow green, and then turquoise, and then violet, because I am going to be doing that beautiful rainbow background. And I also wanted to add a bit of shimmer, so I pulled out the pearl aqua pigment just to do a little splattering. For some sparkle, I love this glitter stock in Mermaid. And of course, I'm going to create my card base with the Not Your Mama's cardstock. So those are the supplies that we'll be using. Let's get started. First, I'm going to position that background stamp into my Misty. I am stamping on watercolor paper, and I'm stamping on 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. Cold press watercolor paper is extremely textured, so I have to stamp this 4 times, and you'll see when I lift it up how it stamps the first time. So you can see there's just lots of spaces that didn't get good impressions, and that's just because of the texture of the watercolor paper. So having a Misty or some type of stamp positioner that you can leave your paper in the same spot and be able to stamp multiple times on watercolor paper is definitely going to be your best bet. So once I stamp it this last time, I'm good to go. I'm happy with it. I kind of stand up and give a lot of pressure right in the middle where I needed that, and now I'm happy with it. So to do my watercoloring, I took a flat wash brush and I just spread clean water all over the cardstock, because I thought, well, originally I started this process and I was coloring each individual cloud a different color of the rainbow, and then I just wasn't happy with it. I wanted it to be more loose and more flowy. That's what I love about watercolor, so I like it to be very loose, and so I thought I'm just going to not worry about the stamped clouds and the sky and all of that in the image. I'm just going to add my colors and let them blend and do the things that they do, which is what I love. And so that's what I did. And then to deepen up some of the areas, I did just drop the aqua pigment directly into the paper, and that worked out really well, just to give it a little bit more depth in the color. And then I just blend until I'm happy. I blend that magenta and yellow orange and get some orange. And then I add more of the turquoise to different areas, especially in between the purple and the green, because I was getting a little bit of mud there. So I put that buffer of the turquoise in between the green and the purple or the violet, and that took away a bit of that muddiness. And so yeah, I just was happy with that. Added some that pearl aqua pigment to my glass mat, and then I just sprinkled it on top while the paper was still wet. I wanted it to, I didn't want it to be splash and like just there. I wanted it to move and blend into the colors that were already there. I think it really created like a lovely cloud effect. So now that the paper is completely dry, I pulled out my guillotine trimmer and I'm just trimming off the edges. You can see that this stamp isn't quite the size of an A2 card front, which is 4¼ by 5½ inches, and that is my preferred card size. So I trimmed off the edges, and I figured I'd put the mermaid glitter paper so that it kind of peeked along the edges like a beautiful sparkly blue sky, and that's what I did. So now I have my Not Your Mama's ordinary cardstock. This is super heavy duty, man. It is 130 pounds and so thick. It's like my favorite card base now. So yeah, I love it. And so then I'm going to go ahead and score that at 4½ no, 5½, because I have a top folding A2 size card, which is my favorite. I love the top folding cards. And then you can see I've trimmed down my glitter cardstock, and my beautiful cloud panel just hung off a little bit. I wasn't sure originally if I was going to keep it like that, but in the end I decided that I wanted to trim that little bit off. So the guillotine trimmer really comes in handy for this. I can just line it up and make sure it's all nice and straight and cut off that little sliver. Super easy. Now I'm ready to go ahead and attach this whole thing together. It's a very simple card. So I'm just going to put that glitter cardstock in the middle of my card base, and then I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back of the cloud panel. I like to fill up the entire back of that just with all of the adhesive all around the edges and a couple of pieces in the middle. Once that is removed, I decided, or once the backing was all removed, I decided that I wanted to ink up the edges because I was using some watercolor paper that was glued at the top. There was a black line at the top of my paper, and I just decided I wanted to make that all black and just kind of frame out that portion of the card. So now I can attach that right in the middle, and I love the way that the sparkle looks on the edge of that panel. It just really adds some dimension and texture to the card. Next, I'm going to cut off a little bit of sliver of that Not Your Mama's heavy duty cardstock. That's a mouthful. I can't ever remember what exactly it's called. One day I will get it right. And I'm going to take that Choose Kindness stamp, and I'm going to stamp it right in the middle of that cardstock. And then I'm going to trim it off, trim it down, and attach it to the card. I'll just use some more foam adhesive, one that has a little bit thicker base, and then I will just attach that on there, lift off that release paper, and position it where I want it to be. It hangs off just ever so slightly off the edges, but doesn't go all the way to the purple, I think, or the blue sparkle, and I really like the way that looks. So that finishes off my card. I thought. I was thinking needed something a little bit more. So I pulled out my white gel pen, and I just added a few doodling stars around the sky, and that really gave it what I was looking for. I thought maybe I'll add sequins or some type of dimensional glue or something like that, but nope. I love adding these little stars to beautiful sky backgrounds, and that was exactly what this card needed. So I did little groupings of 3, and that now finishes off the card. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. We'd love to have you as a subscriber to see all the fun things that are coming up. And if you're inspired by this card or any of the cards you see here on Brutus Monroe, please use the hashtag Brutus Monroe. And if you want to see more from me, you can follow me on social media at Inky Fairy Designs, and also tag me if you post something that you create that is inspired by this card or any of the other cards I've shared on this channel recently. You can hashtag or tag me Inky Fairy Designs. That'll do it for me today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.